Hello everybody, welcome back to another Apex Legends video. We're going to be reviewing all of the heavy weapons currently in the game. First on the list is the Car SMG. A lot of people hold the Car as the R99 killer because of its very similar fire rate, very similar damage ranges, and very similar overall feel. The Car has a pretty stable recoil pattern, doesn't really flick around too much, and it's pretty usable at a lot of ranges. You can even slap it 2 times on it and it'll still feel pretty good. Overall, the Car maybe gets an 8 out of 10 from me. I'm not a fan of the stock iron sights. They feel kind of clunky. Next on the list is the Rampage. The Rampage is regarded as one of the most terrifying guns in the game because of its wind-up. With the Rampage, you can pick up a thermite, charge the gun, and it'll start firing fast and be able to destroy doors in 5 shots. This makes the Rampage a very formidable gun at both CQC and long range if you can control the slight amount of recoil that it has. I've been sniped with a Rampage and it is pretty terrifying to hear that thud 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 behind me. Even without its thermite charge, it's still pretty good, but it feels a bit slow. Overall, the Rampage gets a 9 out of 10. It loses a little bit in the CQC department, but if you can land your shots, it is absolutely perfect. Next on the list is the 30-30 repeater. A lot of people have a love-hate relationship with the repeater, regarding it as either the worst gun in the game or the best gun in the game. And with its 2 hop-ups, out of the 2, I much prefer Shattercaps. Because Shattercaps give you more versatility. You can land a few shots like that, and say like your opponent rushes up to you and then you are completely like fucked. If you ADS now, you'll probably get boned. So, if your aim sucks, then just use Shattercaps, because Shattercaps is very forgiving. It's 12 rounds. I also hold the 30-30 very highly on my list, as I regard it as one of the best DMR-style weapons in the game. If you can land your shots consecutively, this gun is an absolute monster. The Wingman, everyone's favorite revolver. Regarded as probably one of the most solid guns in the game, with a very high damage type, and a very high skill gap. The Wingman takes a lot of time to get used to, but once you learn its finicky iron sights, then it will very much reward you. A lot of people just run irons on the Wingman because they seem it to be better, because with the sights it feels a bit strange, and I wholeheartedly have to agree with them. But that being said, the Wingman is overall one of the best guns in the game and gets a solid 10 out of 10 from me. Next on the list, the Prowler. The Prowler is probably one of the more obscure heavy weapons. People don't really pick it up as much as they used to. It's still a very solid gun. It does a very high amount of damage. It's very easy to use at CQC. Doesn't have much recoil. Feels very clean. The iron sights are my only gripe with it. The iron sights aren't the best, but they're not terrible. Overall, the Prowler is one of my favorite guns in the game, so I have some slight bias here. But if you do pick up the Prowler, you'll probably get many kills with it. It is very easy to finish someone off with the Prowler because of that instant burst. And overall, the Prowler gets a 9 out of 10 from me. My only gripe being the iron sights. Next on the list is the Hemlock. The Hemlock is a weird weapon. It requires a lot of skill to use, but it rewards you greatly for using it to its full potential. It fires in a 3-round burst. It does a pretty substantial amount of damage, and with this new hop-up of it feels very good. Because you can clean up 2 motherfuckers with that, and then land the fast reload, switch to burst, clean them up, and then boom. Overall, I would give the Hemlock a 7 out of 10, just because I personally don't really enjoy using it over the R301, but that's just me. Also, its iron sights feel pretty awful to use sometimes. They feel kind of clunky and obscuring. Finally, the Flatline. This weapon recently got put into crafting, and it has seen a drop in popularity as such. The Flatline has a lot of recoil, but a very, very high damage output, making it one of the better weapons if you learn to control the recoil. The Flatline, as of this season I believe, was sent into crafting along with the longbow, making it a little bit more obscure. It also has a pretty mediocre hipfire, like if you're moving about. But if you can get around that, then it is a perfectly reasonable gun. The iron sights on this weapon are regarded as some of the worst iron sights in the game. I find them pretty usable, but a lot of people would argue that this gun has the worst irons in the game. It's not a very clean sight picture, but overall, the Flatline is a very solid gun with a 9 out of 10 score. Out of these heavy weapons, which one is the best? For me personally, I'm going to have to say the Rampage. The Rampage is arguably one of the most versatile guns in the game as long as you have a thermite on hand. There is a slight catch to it, but sadly this makes it so the gun is absurdly overpowered. If you can find one thermite off the drop with a stock Rampage, let me take off all the attachments here, you will absolutely shred ass. And overall, I think it deserves the #1 spot as the best heavy weapon. Let me know what gun you guys think is the best heavy weapon in this game. I'd be curious to know your answers, and I'll see you next time.